Salutations, nature journalists. I'm here to give you a review of the Muir Laws sketchbook, which is a spin-off of this excellent book, The Laws Guide to Nature Journaling. And what happened is I checked this out from the library at first, and I was so impressed with it I went out and bought it. And I'm told that if you buy it from the Muir Laws website, that he'll personally inscribe his books. So this review is going to be on the sketchbook. I am not associated with Muir Laws, but I do admire his products and his philosophy. I find this book to be very well thought out and has a lot of great features in it that you would never ever guess that would be in a sketchbook. Initially, you look at it and it has this band here, which is great for keeping it closed if it's in your backpack, and also for keeping the pages flat in case there's a high wind. You can keep the pages flat, and that band will help you out there. Okay, also, once you take off this dust cover thing, there's a canvas textured white journal cover that you can personalize with your own artwork, which I obviously have not done yet, but you can see I just lightly sketched there with a pencil, and it comes off. So you're able to edit your sketches and maybe even change it on the fly as you change your mind about what you want to have on the cover. They say that it's a convenient 7x9 size, but I think it's kind of an in-between size. It's a little bit too big for my cargo shorts, but on the other hand, it's not big and cumbersome. And it's plenty big enough so that you can have enough of a detail showing up there. Okay. The pages open flat for panoramic scenes, and also if you'll notice the binding does not wiggle back and forth like on a spiral bound, which is great if you're going to be doing any graphite drawing. It will reduce the smudging. There are 64 pages of 148 gram white paper. There are 16 pages of 200 gram light paper that are excellent for sketching with pen, pencil, and light washes. The gram measure is more accurate gauge of weight of the paper than the pounds per ream, and this paper is about twice the weight of most other sketchbook paper. The first page is not sketchbook paper. In the back, there are 16 pages of reference material on journaling, observation, and sketching, including scientific measurement. Well, let's go first of all and get a little bit into Muir Laws' brain here, where he likes to explain his philosophy of nature journaling and how to observe and how to do proportions and shading and things like that, just from a mental or philosophical perspective. This is followed by more detailed pages, such as journal tools that will tell you to list your metadata, which is just simply the weather, wind direction, time of day, and maybe even where you are. And something that I found is that your phone with a GPS application can give you the exact latitude and longitude. Okay, there's some things about diagramming here and giving you tips where you might not have all the colors at hand, but you can at least notate the color of the object and fill it in later on. Okay, there's also proportions and sections, and he even goes so far as to recording the sound of the insects or the birds. He talks about zooming in, zooming out, and a bunch of cross sections and things like that. And something I want to add too is this is more or less an extract of that book that I showed you at the very beginning, only kind of boiled down to a footnotes level. But on YouTube, he has got videos in excess of an hour on almost every one of these major topics. Shows you how to do measuring and estimating percentages and populations. Here he has a picture of his famous non-photo blue pencil, which I'll show you how it performs on the paper later on. And then things like contour shading, negative shapes, which he's very emphatic about. And he wraps up here with this color wheel, which is an additive color wheel. And it's not the old red, blue, yellow color wheel that we all grew up with. It's cyan, magenta, and blue, like in our color printers we have now. And it gives you a much better purple and green, and I'll show you that later on too. Gets into the details of gait and anatomy, and how he blocks out with the non-photo blue pencil, and then perspective and how things are coming out at you and into you. This is a representative of a tree branch, for instance. He has an excellent video on that. Wrapping it up is the table of contents, which might seem counterintuitive to have the table of contents at the end, but this is where you would list your page numbers that you put on the pages yourself, by the way, but also the topics as you create them. And with that, we'll go into how the pages react to different types of media.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the non-photo blue pencil. This particular one is made by Prismacolor, and you can see it shows up just fine. And the nice thing about this is that if you were to put this on a copy machine, the blue would not show up. And this is typically what John Muir Laws uses to like block out some animals' proportions as far as their leg and their body and maybe their head up here type thing. It just very loosely does that. Okay, so that's a basic drafting or sketching tool. Another basic sketching tool is a mechanical pencil. This one has a 2B lead in it, which is fairly soft and black. And I'm just going to show you how you can do some shading and how to go transition to a very rich black for shadows, heavy outlines, that kind of thing. These are not real expensive either. They're very nice. Okay, so that's your basic. Now, if you want to add color, well, I've got some color pencils here, and he recommends the ones from Prismacolor are going to be Process Red, True Blue, and Canary Yellow. And just doing a real quick color wheel here, I'll put down the magenta first of all. Then we'll do some of the Canary Yellow. You can see we get some red now and also some orange. And if I want to make it more orange, I'll just simply add more yellow. If I want to make more red, I'd add more magenta. Kind of like that. And then the True Blue with the Canary Yellow gives us a very nice green. Like I said, this is the additive process. Now if I want to get a violet, I would add magenta and the blue. And you can see where they overlap strongly. Yeah, you get a nice violet color. And I can tell you that as far as a color pencil enthusiast goes, this paper has got very good tooth, and I wouldn't doubt but that you could do many, many layers on this and get really rich detail. Okay, so that's the colored pencils. Then to wrap it up are the watercolor pencils. And the watercolor pencils I'm using are just some not very high grade ones. This is lemon yellow, and this one's simply blue. This is simply red. Doesn't get much easier than that. But I need to make the watercolor pencil a little bit bigger swath here because of the inherent running that watercolors will do. So I'm going to overlap just a little bit here, the red with the blue. Okay, then wrap it up here with the yellow. And you can see right now the overlaps, you're not seeing very much action there, so to speak. But the magic, if you will, with watercolor is when you add water. So let me get my water brush out here, my water pen, and clean it off.